James, when you started the whole process, it was a company that was set up by young Kenyans.
Correct.
How did you think of this idea of what we now know as the e-citizen?
First, at Webmasters, that's before Webmasters, but I'll also just the idea creation process. It starts with a problem. At that time, government was a mess when it comes to accessing government services. What most people really do not understand is where the government was in 2014. Everything was manual. Okay, majority of the services were manual. So you'll go through the process of lining up. Your mess to peke yake. Now we have to find a solution for this. So luckily, back in 2008, we got an opportunity to work with IFC, World Bank, and this is when we were exposed to the world of investment climate and ease of doing business.
Okay. Is it something you can talk about? Can you talk about how it is?
Yes.
You got to talk. You get to know of IFC and how you got to work with them and what exactly it is that you are doing with them.
Yes. So at that time, most of our systems were imported. So the treasury was running an e-registry imported from Netherlands. Norwegian. So it was a Norwegian company who had won a World Bank tender to support the e-registry. This is back in 2008. So when there was an opportunity, because one of the problems was sustainability. Most of the World Bank projects have those kind of things, so it needs to be sustainable. And it was very expensive importing expertise from outside to come in to Kenya to support our system. So the World Bank wanted a local vendor.
And you were already in existence?
We were already in existence, but not just existence, we had experience.
What experience did you have, and in what field had you garnered this experience?
You see, interestingly, my internship was in government.
What did you study? Because if you were interning in government, what did you study? What is this thing that interested you?
I'm a student of the universe. I'll explain. Back in the days,
yes,
there was no really good teacher who even understood the internet and the web to even train well about anything software engineering. So sisi ni wale ma students wenye tunasema self taught.
Ulijifunza.
Unaingia YouTube, you want to learn web design, unaingia una search, unajaribu, unashindwa, unajaribu paka unapata your first client, anafurahi, and then you move on. So we back in 2006, after a few years of trial and error of designing websites
and of being a student of the universe,
yes. I walked to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Unaingia hivi kwa mlango, sema I want, because actually this is a very interesting story I've never shared. Back in the days, kama bado I'm staying naishi Ololo Kaloleni. Mimi nilikaa Kaloleni hapa hivi karibu na Makongeni. Hapo sasa unalipa rent ya 1500.
Shilingi ya Kenya taslimu.
So unatembea kukuja town na una reason.
Unatia tizi.
Unapiga kagumu. So back in the days I was like, how do people really make money? Because unatembea kwa barabara, watu wako na magari, nyumba zinajengwa,
na hiyo jogoo,
na wewe mwenyewe ile jogoo na hiyo traffic.
Mazee hiyo kitu ni ndefu bwana. Na hata mahali pa kutembea ni shida.
Yeah, so like how do really people make money? Because kuna pesa. Mimi tu ndo sijui.
buildings, all these cars, kuna pesa mahali.
Hey, there is something I really don't know about life.
Yes.
So I just decided niaje, I'll start asking someone that I feel like kuna pesa kunishinda. So now the only way I'll tell kuna pesa kunishinda ni gari at that time, because you don't carry your house and don't know where you stay. So so someone atakuwa amepark mahali, so I love your car.
But
and so how did you buy it? Interesting, people were open to sharing.
People who have nice cars love their cars, and they love talking about their cars. Yes.
So what waliniambia, and then just one guy, the face ishaanza kufed, but I remember the name is called Pius.
Yes.
Aliniambia, you see, most of these houses and these cars, these guys are usually government vendors. Government is the biggest consumer in a market when it comes to services and product.
Na wao ndio wako na pesa kushinda kila mtu.
So find something you can supply to the government, and ukishapata you'll on your way to owning a car.
Did you say a car like mine or just a car?
Acha nikwambie, I think at the first stage of life, you just need a car
so long as
to feel good. As long as it moves.
Hata mimi nilipata pesa nikanunua gari.
Yeah, so when now we got into Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Me personally, so I'm just telling you, after someone said, oh niaje, find something you can do to government. What can we do that time is web design. And at that time governments azikuwa na anything interactive. It was just basic websites. So I said I have to find a government department. So I walked Peter Industrial area, nikatokea hivi hapo Central Bank. You just looking for a government office, hata ujui government office nini. Remember, you've really never really interacted with government. When I just play back that old memory gap, you're just a hustler from the hoods. Unasikia kuna kitu inaitwa government, and you really never interacted, and you want to offer a service to government. So you walk in, and then unapita hiyo Central Bank, unaambia Central Bank hiyo ni Central Bank. So ukienda hivi nikatan right, niona police, asma I don't know anything, I can't offer to police. And then I see
now Vigilance House.
Unaona venye kutoka
that is the same road that Foreign Affairs office iko. Barabara ni hiyo.
Yes, so
ukielekea mbele utafika kwa AG na kadhalika.
Ukitoka hapo Polytechnic pande hivi Dallas. Unajua, I'm just playing back then when I was like 23, 25. So we were walking to a government office, and I saw Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then anaenda kwa reception, sema I want to see IT, someone in charge of ICT. And then I walked in. That time there's this gentleman called Kirimi Karabia. You know, I usually like telling stories that are verifiable, and so this is the director of ICT. The guy later on became Minister of Defense, became ambassador, alitembea. By that time he was young, director of ICT. Kambia, I can make your website look good, and I'm not going to charge you. Wakanipatia kiti. Sema, okay, what do you need? Sema, I just need a computer and the internet connection. I want to learn, but I also want to contribute. Sema, ndio. For the longest, it was just chai,
the computer,
chai and lunch, and tatembea nikirudi home for almost a year, just to try and build the system for Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
So that was your internship?
Yes, that was my internship. And after that, there was Ministry of Information, needed a website, Department of Film Services. By the time IFC World Bank was looking for a local company with experience working in government, I was the one person with experience with more than 10 ministries.
And you're offering free services to all these people?
Later on, nilipata ka 50,000. You know, someone will tell you, okay, James, we don't have budget for big budgets, but there's usually petty cash. Government ikona up to certain amount they can spend without big procurement. So hizo vitu wananunua. So it was just amongst those petty cash. But for me, nilisema this is the space I really wanted to play in. So I wanted to really understand government end to end at that time. I never knew about the future. I just knew one day we will offer end to end government services, but you need to understand government from the foundation. So we got an opportunity to work with Ministry of Lands. These were the foundational systems in the initial days, and be part of the research about how to digitize government services. Unasoma some of these researches, una realize they just modeled for people to make money. Wewe unajua you're thinking fast as a Kenyan and also thinking to offer service. Bado hujakuwa logged na hizo so many other politics, some corporate politics, some international politics when it comes to offering this kind of services. So from what at that time ilikuwa inspire, what was inspiring us was we just wanna prove ourselves. Fast forward 2014, the government wanted to digitize, and we are already a vendor of the World Bank, and of course offering our services at the National Treasury. Hiyo ilikuwa inaitwa e-registry. Ili run between 2009 ikaendelea. So e-registry was a collection of all licenses you need to start a specific business. You see, most people attend to a registered business, but they really don't know what license they need. There are usually so many other licenses that you need. So e-registry was pretty much designed for that.
Yeah.
But during the process of developing e-registry, at that time it was purely log into e-registry, work activities zako, and then the system will list the licenses you need and which agencies, and then you can download the forms. It was big deal. But that time when it was being launched, I remember the minister then akisema we are looking at a time when Kenyans will be able to log in online, pay online, and access all these government services without having to visit government offices. At this time M-Pesa hata bado haija improve. I remember those are the days when we used to have SIM cards. So when you send money to someone, we've locked it to a server like it was a proper manual verification process.
Yeah.
So M-Pesa bado hakuna, digital payments hakuna, and the government is saying that's what we are looking at the time when we are able, Kenyans are able to. So when we went back to our small office in Buru, we were like, unajua time tuko Buru hapo Kagina Plaza.
Mshatoka Ololo?
Kongo hapo ni asili yangu.
Yes.
Nimeanza kuomoka sasa, hizi nimeenda naishi tena. na tumelipa pesa kidogo, tukasema waje tuanzishe ofisi wapi? Buru.
So ofisi ko Buru.
Na sasa hizi in the I think it's in the news. It was a proper event of the government where tulikuwa tunaonekana tuki launch the e-registry. So tunarudi back nasema there is government inataka, kuna opportunity hapa. So we just decided that's what we want to focus on. So between 2009 we improved that e-registry mara kadhaa, and then World Bank wanted to implement the same in few countries. So we went maybe 10-15 countries.
Mlienda?
Just to try and implement the same. It was a big deal. Unajua the things we take for granted like e-citizen, it is impossible to implement. It is not easy to implement an e-citizen without proper government government need or interest. It is difficult. So we've been to more than 15 countries.
On the continent or outside the continent?
In the continent, we've done PR outside the continent. At that time sasa they just wanted the e-registry. Kitu yenye nakwambia hiyo ilikuwa the initial foundation, just normal.
That is what those governments wanted.
Hiyo tu,
an e-registry.
Yeah, just to know what licenses you need. but utalipa tu cash, utafanya download form. It was innovation because internet is not still understood hiyo wakati. Watu waelewi internet ni nini.
Actually no, as far as we are concerned it was called web.
Yes.
Yes, and this internet we came to understand it much later, but everything to do with the internet we knew was called the web.
Yes. And that's why we came up with Webmasters.
Yes.
So when we went back to our offices tukasema this is what really we wanted to do. So we focused between 2009 to when the government now the new regime came in. Still we are not very exposed to everything, but we have experience. We worked with several governments, and we already a supplier of the World Bank and all that. So when I was called to present back in, because I know these are some of the information and people really want to understand some of these journeys that transformed into.
It's actually very important.
Yeah, and so between 2009 to 2013 tumeingia, the government wants a service provider to do digital payments, and here there are big bosses. Najua mambo na payments ni banks. Mostly it was a bank's play. And some software companies hazikuwa zimejiestablish sana. Kulikuwa na individuals wanajaribu, but when it came to digital payments, banks were solid. So everyone presented.
How many were you who made your presentations?
Mimi peke yangu.
Wewe peke yako?
Yes.
There was nobody else who made the presentation?
No, there are other banks like KCB.
Oh, they actually came with their teams.
Wao walikuwa na timu yao. Mimi I was just a one man guitar that time.
Okay.
It was a young company, a startup, maybe with less than 5 people. But we were the only people with actually real experience and a product we could show. Because I remember when we were presenting, we actually showcased a working product and the vision. So tuambia, for the government, it's not just about getting the money. You need to understand that Kenyans also want the service. And we realize that, of course, the perspective of the people at that time believe that payment automation will solve the problem of corruption and all that. And this is because that was what was exposed to them. So no one really actually thought services can be tied to payments and it works. No one was really ready to take that challenge. So watu walikuwa wanataka kuweka ma point of payments. Hizi ma naitwangaje?
POP.
Kuna hizi ma ATMs,
PDQ.
But kubwa where you can actually, unajua kama hizi za we can actually punch self-service
the ATM machines.
Yes. But sasa kuna hizi za service systems. So
self-service.
It's like but for payments.
Okay.
So you will go, it will be distributed. It was supposed to be in the thousands.
Wait, what sort of system is this?
You see, like when you go to check pesa kwa ATM, it was supposed to be where you can just go with the card or the payment, but kuna screen where you can be able to self-access government services.
So it's an ATM. Let's call it an ATM, but for accessing government services.
That was what was being proposed.
And just for payment.
And these machines would be placed strategically across the country.
Yes. So when we were coming to do our demo, sisi tulikuja na a fresh perspective that resonated with the people. Interestingly, it was so fresh, mpaka people really didn't care if Webmasters iko na 3 employees or how many employees. The only question I remember in that meeting ilikuwa, where do we start? You see, because it was a very, very clear.
Which year was this?
This is in 2014. March, April hapo. Okay. Before e-citizen. And then we are being told there's a directive to launch government services by July 1st.
This was the digital transformation that the government was talking about.
Yes.
And it's clear they did not have a clue as to how to digitally transform.
That's correct.
Right.
So at that time, at least tulikuwa tumezunguka and really we had some proper experience with few agencies, but not with all of government. But tulijiamini tu. Unajua ya Kenyans ni wale wase wenye wanajituma tu. Wasema ni aje, we can do this. The day of the launch, systems crashed.
Yeah?
Everything crashed. Alafu sasa you really don't know what to do. You know, people really don't understand what it really takes to have a citizen run.
So, is it at the point where people were gathered waiting for the launch that it crashed, or when you're beginning to set up that it crashed?
During the launch, you know, sasa iko live.
Yes, it is live.
NTSA imeleta all driving schools. Tuko saizo KICC. You know, e-citizen was launched by the President Ruto. It was never launched by President Uhuru. President Ruto is the one who launched. It was started
when he was
deputy president.
Or when
no, it was launched Kamako president.
Wait, so all this time that we've been using e-citizen,
it was on pilot. It was only few agencies.
So this thing that we've been using all along, e-driving license and it
was a pilot program.
It was pilot during that time.
Oh.
It was pilot. And when I play back all those years, people need to understand when you introduce something new, change management takes time.
Oh yes, it does.
And people also need to understand that you're talking about people in government who are used to offering services manually, and you're introducing a digital platform. It takes long.
Oh, so there's always resistance.
Yeah, so there's resistance and all those kind of things. So the government wanted this for the longest.
I'm curious, before we forget, on the day of the launch, it crashed. So what happened? The president did nothing.
It was the president. It was the NTSA launching its services. We couldn't even handle NTSA peke yake. And then napo sana tukagundua kuna kitu zinaitwa servers na nini. Hey, sasa tukamwambia we need more server space.
This is 2014.
This is 2014.
So mko KICC.
Tuko KICC.
This is a live televised event.
Yes. Watu wanajaribu kwenda kwa site. It doesn't work.
Ina crash.
Unakumbuka kama wewe hata kununua ticket za citizen vitu hivyo sasa ilikuwa una try ku access now NTSA citizen. Boom. Behind the scenes watu wako pale wana try. It doesn't work. Wako kwa screen, black screen. So how do we solve this? Now we figured out that problem. Most of this.
How did you solve that problem?
You see, first kuna kuangana kitu inaitwa in the digital or web space, in watu wengi wako kwa shared hosting. Majority, probably 90% or 95% shared hosting. Shared hosting is like shared internet. So when you're having traffic is like people are calling you constantly. So in a typical setup, your phone is designed to handle, let's say example, one call at a time. Mtu mwingine akupigia itaenda call waiting. Watatu atakupigia itakuwa busy. That's pretty much how your phone is designed to handle incoming calls. So kwa internet, so pia kuna websites and systems zenye when 100 people access at the same time, it can handle. When 200 people can access at the same time, it can handle. But when 100,000 people access at the same time, in a hang. Because the pipe is not big enough to handle all that traffic. So these are things you learn.
So you solve that by increasing the pipe.
Not just that, you have to optimize also your application, and then you also have to have the right application. So between 2014 and 2017, the financing for from the World Bank lapsed, but you deepened. So you're already offering services, and wezima sasa umewacha because sasa you're not being paid. Hello. The future is not so clear, but what you need to do is so clear. So we were very clear in our minds that this has to work. We've been given the opportunity to build systems, and so we rewrote the whole application, a different language. This is just based on the lessons we've learned from previous crash problems. Systems in anguka. So we rewrote. We got better engineering team. Also we scaled and got people with even better skills than ourselves to try and build all this. So so we rewrote the whole thing. When the new regime came in, it was part of the previous regime, part of the discussions, but with the legal issues and all those kind of things, vitu zika stagnate, and it was in the president's head kwamba hii mambo ya government services, it really need to be solved. Sisi we just love people who challenge us. Ile unampatia vitu impossible. People don't understand how impossible it is. You know, in when you do one system for a client, it goes through several iterations. Utamwambia design, implementation, training, change management, support, and you're dealing with people from different circles. Just one company, you're talking about several hundreds of government agencies. It was thorough. Mimi, I think we are privileged to have seen operations the government at that level, and we appreciate where we are as a country.
So the government then bought Webmasters?
No, Webmasters is still a private company. The government.
So what is the arrangement that Webmasters has with the government? Is it a PPP? What is it?
So, of course, we started the pilot, and the government was impressed with what we delivered or what we've done in the last 10 years. Most importantly, without payments. You see, and this is because they were passionate.